learn about security aspects in e-commerce. As you know that today in the modern world, most of the transactions, most of the payment transactions are been going on in the online. So the commerce, whatever the commerce which is occurring or which is going on in the digital world, you call it as the e-commerce. And the very important requirement in the e-commerce is the security, and second one is the privacy. Anyway, today in this class or in this session, we are going to learn some concepts related to the security aspects. So what does the e-commerce mean? Let us try to recall the basic definition of e-commerce. E-commerce is a short for electronic commerce. It has become synonymous with buying and selling over the internet. Very simple. Whatever you are buying or selling over the internet, you simply call it as e-commerce. So if I am not using any internet, you call it as commerce. If you are doing any electronic kind of commerce, you call it as e-commerce. So e-commerce includes all business transactions that use electronic communications and digital information processing technology. See, since I am using the commerce over the electronic platform, now what is coming into the picture? The technology is coming into the picture, the electronic communication is coming into the picture, and the digital information is coming into the picture. So when you are trying to work with the electronic mode of commerce, then automatically the digital information, the communication, and the kind of business transactions, these three will come into the scenario. Now, why the e-commerce is really necessary? Because at present we are stepping out from 4th generation to 5th generation in internet technology. So what does this generation means? Very simple. Generation deals with the speed. Generation deals with the speed of data transferring from one system to another system. If I am having a kind of technology where I can share the data from one machine to another machine with high speed, instead of personally I am going to some other location, why can't I do that transaction in the online mode? So that is the basic requirement, basic advantage. So the internet, the rapid digitalization or the rapid advancement of internet made the electronic commerce really a beneficial or fruitful activity. E-commerce is concerned with buying and selling information, products, services over the communication networks. Now, so coming to the security issues, okay, what are the issues which we need to focus when you are doing any transaction over the internet? You have to focus on 4 aspects or 4 issues. The first issue is the economic issue. Second issue is the social issue. Third one is the privacy, and fourth one is the technical. So when you are doing any kind of transaction over the internet, okay, then you should be very cautious on 4 things. The first one is the economic issue, whether I am purchasing the right product, is the product is really advantageous or it is showing any fake information, that you should be very much careful. Second one is the social issue. Social issue means is there any kind of social related issue with the transaction or commerce? You have to check with that. And whether your personal information is being shared or not. If it is shared in the real world, it is not really beneficial. So third one is the privacy, and last one is the technical or the technological issue, whether the technology is really beneficial or really helping you or not. So these are the 4 things which you should be very much cautious when you are working with the e-commerce. So what exactly a customer who is doing an e-commerce over the internet, he should be targeted or he should be focused. He should be focused on 3 things. The first one is the protect confidentiality. I am doing something. I don't want to share my information to anyone. Even we are having some kind of rumors in the real world. Even the Aadhaar data has been disclosed by the other organization. Even the Aadhaar maker, Mr. Nandan Nilekani, has said many times that Aadhaar data has not been disclosed. Even still we have our doubts with us. So that deals with the protect or the confidentiality of my data. I don't want to share my data to anyone. That's purely my privacy. Even the government of India has enacted different kinds of rules that no personal information should be revealed. And whenever any kind of Aadhaar data or any other kind of personal information is being displayed on the public platform, the number will be erased, or it will be made closed or made it hibernate. Second one is the integrity. Integrity means whatever the transaction which I am doing, the transaction should not be mutilated or should not be manipulated. Whatever the transaction which I am doing in the online, my commerce should not be mutilated by any hacker. That should be done in a proper manner. That is my second requirement. First requirement is the privacy. My data should not be shared with anyone. Second one is integrity. My transaction should not be mutilated or fabricated by any third party. And the last one is the ease of availability. If I want to purchase anything on Amazon or Flipkart or any other kind of platform, in a single click I can do the purchase. If the purchase or the e-commerce is taking number of steps or lengthy steps, it will be tedious for the customer to do that activity. So the customer will always have three things in his mind. The first one is his privacy should not be deteriorated and his transaction should not be mutilated, and third one is his transaction should be done in a simple and efficient and effective manner. That is called the ease of availability. So these are the three security objects. In the examination, you will be getting a question, a direct question, something like, what are the security aspects of e-commerce? So these are the three major objectives of security when you are working with the e-commerce. The first one is your data should not be revealed to anyone. That is called the privacy or the confidentiality. Second one is the integrity, means your transaction should not be altered. Third one is your transaction should be done in a simple and effective manner. Let us see the outline of this session. Now we are going to learn about the concepts of internet security. After that, we will learn about the cryptography. We will try to understand about the firewalls and what are the various e-commerce challenges, e-commerce security, and we will also try to cover, if possible, global and local issues. When you working or when you doing a transaction or when you performing any kind of e-commerce, okay, what are the various kinds of attacks you will be encountered? What are the various kinds of attacks you will be encountered? Normally in the interviews they will put a question like this. So what might be attacks I can be seen when I am doing an e-commerce? The first one is the security attacks. Again, it is having the active attacks as well as passive attacks. Active attacks deals with instantaneous when you performing a transaction. Passive attacks means once the transaction has been done, based upon your transaction, the hacker can do or perform any kind of attack. Active attack and passive attack. Active means during the transaction, passive means once the transaction has been completed, based upon the traffic analysis, based upon your profile, he can create some kind of attack. Anyway, let us try to understand each and every kind of attack. The first one is the interruption. Interruption means you doing some kind of transaction and your transaction is being interrupted by some kind of hacker not performing your transaction. That is called interruption. Second one is the interceptor. Interceptor means he is not only interrupting you, he is trying to add something to your transaction. That is called interceptor. He is not interrupting, rather he is trying to add some other information in your transaction. That is called interceptor. Third one is the modification. You call it as the mutilation, means You are doing the transaction and he is trying to modify that transaction. That is kind of another kind of attack. Next one is fabrication. Normally fabrication means you are delivering a product, okay, the hacker can deliver different kind of product to the customer. That is called fabrication. And the next one is the virus. Mostly in the today's world, everyone hears about the word virus. Virus means, the acronym for virus, VIRUS, is Vital Information Resources Under Seized. See, normally everyone thinks that virus means whatever the virus which is getting to the human body, it is not the virus which is affecting to the computer. The computer virus is somewhat different. It is not a virus, what we are thinking. A virus is a small program which will be activated when you try to execute a particular application. Okay, what happens with that virus program? Very simple. This virus program in a computer, when it is running, it will try to change the locations of your files. How? I have just started the system. Okay, so slowly all the files are been opening and the Microsoft Windows desktop has been showed. Very simple, everything went fine. So after some time somebody made it hack the virus system, where the virus has been entered. Now what exactly the culprit virus is doing? It is trying to change the file from one location to another location. Okay, so once you try to reboot the system, your computer will try to search for a file, operating system file. Since the file is not in that location, it will try to search for different locations. Okay, so in the searching mechanism, it is trying to take more and more time. That's why if a system is getting virus, automatically that system is showing the poor performance because of dislocating of files. So virus is a very simple, clever program that is trying to dislocate your programs and files. What is the best mechanism to break this virus? Mostly don't use any external type of devices. Try to use the authenticated websites, something like Google or VeriSign. They have their own virus checking or antivirus softwares where they try to check everything, and if they found everything is fine, then only they'll permit you to download. So instead of manually you putting the pen drive, try to go for the authenticated websites. So these are the various attacks which we have seen. The first one is the interruption, interceptor, modification, fabrication, and the virus. Okay, coming to the passive attack, this is very clever attack. Let us try to understand in the real world example. See, I'm a spy, I'm an agent. I try to observe the person who is coming to so and so office morning and evening, everything. I'm trying to prepare a profile. Okay, he's coming every day at 9 o'clock. He's going for the breakfast at so and so time. Again, he is coming back to the office, accessing so and so files and getting back to the home. So I have made some kind of profile. Similarly, in the computer, a hacker can try to observe your traffic analysis. At what time you are logging, what are the files you are accessing, what are the files or what is the data in that files, at what time you are getting off, everything he can make a profile analysis, that is called passive. Okay, based upon your profile, he tried to deduce some kind of personal information from you, and using that information he can do, or he can hack systems also. This is called the passive attack. Since I am doing a transaction, the hacker can interrupt my activity, or he can intercept my activity, or he can fabricate my activity. That is called the active attack. Passive attack, active attack. Passive attack means after the transaction, based upon my profile, he is hacking. Active attack means right at the time of doing the transaction, he can do the interception. As I have said, what is meant by virus, how it can be eradicated? Simple. A virus is a small software program that will be trying to copy, or that will be trying to dislocate the files within a computer or within a phone or any tablet or an electronic gadget. What exactly happening? The operating system tries to locate for the file, and since it is not locating, it is taking more time. Your system is showing the poor performance. Very simple. And coming to the distributed software, I recall that we have three kinds of softwares. In the internet, whenever you see any free software, freeware means you should be very much cautious. It will be associated with kinds of virus programs only. The freeware, second one is the shareware, third one is the distributed. So distributed means, freeware means it is completely totally free, everyone can access. Shareware means you can access but you cannot share. Distribute means you can access but you have to obey the rules of the merchant. 99% of the persons who are using the emails, they try to keep the passwords of their mother name, or they try to keep the passwords with their 1234, or they try to keep the passwords with their date of birth, or they try to keep the password for their close friend or their spouses. This is called the password hole. If I am a very close friend of some other person, if I know his date of birth, his wife name or his mother name, I am 98% chances I can break his email. So normally people or students used to do this kind of tendency. What exactly we have to do? We have to keep a password that should not include what I have said. It should not include your mother name, your father name, your date of birth or your pet name, etc. Try to create your own kind of code which should not be cracked by anyone. If possible, you can write that password in any separate notes, only you can access that. So this kind of issue is called the password hole. And so what I have to do with regarding to password? Very simple. Create a strong password, okay, and most of the students, they try to access the computers in the public domain or in the private internet cyber caves. The private internet cyber caves are most dangerous prone areas because they don't have any dedicated firewalls. They are open to the public. Anyone can any hacker can hack those systems, and any hacker can steal the data from that systems. So what is the best remedy? What is the best security option for that? Don't go for the publicly accessed computers. Try to use your own computer, dedicated computer from your home or your college, and take a dedicated internet connection from the authorized internet service provider like BSNL, Act Fiber, etc. Don't go for the cheap internet service providers because they follow very cheap standards, substandards. So these are the security standards, security strategies. At the same time, how should be your password? Your password should be very strong and it should not be cracked by anyone. Even your close friend, knowing all your personal information, he should not crack it. Try to create different kinds of codes, and very important is that your password should be altered for every at least 1 month or 2 months. If you are using the same password for the last 6 years or 7 years, it is very easy for the hacker to crack that password. So better try to change the password. So don't put even one password using for the lifelong time. Try to change the password. These are the best mechanisms. And coming to the log analysis, every computer has the auditing information also. If you go to the accounts information, how many persons are logging into the machine, what are the files they are accessing, you can make it track, or you can make it trace. Okay, these are the files which are been accessing. You can find out the culprits. Okay, some persons who are not been authorized but still they are accessing, you can make it trace for that. You can easily distinguish. These are the simple strategies for the security aspects. Now let us try to understand very important topic in the security, that is called the cryptography. See, in my home, I want to convey something to my mother, but I don't want to convey the same to my father. I want some money from my mother. I want, for example, I want to take 50 rupees or 100 rupees to go to a movie, but I don't want to disclose to my father. Then what I'll do? I'll try to say the same thing in a code to my mother where I and my mother can understand, even my father cannot understand. Normally this happens. Even in the classroom also, you and your friend can understand, but no other person can understand. You create your own coding. This is called cryptography. Very ages, right from long years we are using that, but this is now we have made it as a more formalized. So in the picture you can see that hello is the information which I am saying to the receiver, but since you are sending that over the internet, I don't want to see other the other person, I don't want to see them, show them. So what I did, I just try to modify it. I try to encode it, that something like it is something in a jargon, so no other person can understand. But once the jargon has been received by the receiver, he can make it more proper way, he can decode that, again he can see the hello. This is called cryptography. So where a sender sends the message, that message is called the plain text. Okay, that plain text will be converted into jargon code, that you call it as the cipher text. Normally in military applications, this kind of mechanism will be implemented. Okay, this cipher text will be received by the receiver. He tried to decode the same jargon code back into the plain text. So plain text encrypting into cipher text, sending over the internet. The receiver takes that cipher text, again decoding into the plain text. So to convert the plain text into the cipher text, you need to have a separate key. Something like you are opening a room, you're opening a door, like that you try to convert from one form to another form, you will be having a separate key. If you are having two keys, that is called the public key and private key. If you are having only one key, you can call it as a symmetric key or a single key. So what are the types of crypto systems? As I have mentioned that we have two kinds of crypto systems. The one is the conventional crypto system, and second one is very simple. If you are having only one key, that is a conventional. If you are having two keys, one key for converting from plain text to cipher text, another key for converting from cipher text to plain text. This algorithm has been devised by a combination of three scientists. You have to remember those names. Normally in interviews, the interview can put a question, who are the potential contributors in the encryption? You have to remember the names. They are the Rivest, R-I-V-E-S-T, Rivest, Shamir, S-H-I-M-I-R, Shamir, and Edelman, A-D-L-E-M-A-N, Edelman. These are the three scientists who has devised the algorithm that is called the RSA algorithm. Normally it is also called as the public key encryption, where you have two keys, one key for converting from plain text to cipher text, second key for converting from cipher text to the plain text. Very simple. Another important concept in the security system is the firewall. See, I am using my computer in my home, or I am using my computer in my organization. Okay, I don't want the unexpected traffic enter into my computer. I don't want unexpected, unauthorized traffic entering into my computer. For that, we have been provided with a specialized computer or specialized software called the firewall. A firewall can be a software or it can be a computer which restricts or which filters the data before entering into your computer, or it will be placed before your organization or before your network or before your home network, such that it filters the unauthorized or unexpected data. Normally in the real time you can see different kinds of porn or different kinds of this hacking information. Most of this information is being stopped or resisted by the firewall. The more strengthened firewall, the more security you can. Now I am sending my mail from my system to my friend. Okay, and in my mail I have different kinds of information. I don't want to share my information to anyone. Even the Google should not be known what I am rating. So for that, again the encryption has been added with the mail. That is called the pretty good privacy or the privacy enhanced mail. We have two strategies, PGP or PEM. These are the two strategies which we follow. Okay, so let us try to recall what we have learned in the security issues. As I have mentioned, in the electronic commerce, security is very important aspect. Okay, what happens if security is not there? If security is not there, you don't have the your data will be lost, your transactions will be lost, and your authentication, everything will be lost. So security is the prime aspect. Okay, so what are the potential attacks and how you can overcome the potential attacks what we have seen, these virus and various kinds of malicious attacks, passive attacks and active attacks. Okay, so coming to those attacks, mostly your system should be your technology should be strengthened using the encryption or using different kinds of strong password mechanism. Even your company should have a firewall, or your college or your organization should have a proper firewall which resist or unauthorized or unexpected, or it can filter the data. And coming to the mail, even the mail is also following two encryption standards, that is called the pretty good privacy or the privacy enhanced mail. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you.